people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. The official word from out of Norway is that Cecilia Brekhus has effectively become the unified junior middleweight champion by defeating then-champion Kozin of Slovenia to win both the WBC and WBO titles by scores of 97-93, 96-94, and 98-92 in a victory that is being described as being dominant because the fight did not have a U.S. broadcast partner. We weren't able to watch it in this part of the world, and being honest with you, with Cecilia Brekhus being 44 years old and a year removed from her last fight going in, I wasn't sure if she could pull this off. I wasn't sure if she could do it, but apparently she has. Good people at Ring Magazine reacting to the fight stated the First Lady retires as a champion. If she does end up retiring, you guys already know that I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical as to whether or not this weekend's fight will be her final fight when, now that she's got 2 alphabet titles, you know that she can parlay that into one more big one. A big one with Michaela Mayer, which we talked about in my previous video, and we'll see if that prediction sticks. We'll see if that pans out. But on the predication that this is Cecilia's final fight, that she's not going to box anymore after this, just taking stock of her career accolades and who she's been, she racked up approximately 24 successful title defenses as a welterweight champion, 10 of which were defenses of the undisputed crown. 2-weight world champion overall. She's been undisputed at welter, unified now at junior middle, and through the enthusiasm and fanfare that her career created in that region of the world, in her prime, she single-handedly lifted the ban on boxing in Norway that brought the sport back to that region of the world. I've always had a soft spot for Cecilia Brekhus, not just because she's one of the most accomplished fighters the sport had ever seen, but because she was one of the first women boxers I became acquainted with. Hearing so much about Katie Taylor when she debuted as a professional, I thought to myself, I wonder if there aren't more women boxers out there, really good ones like Katie. And then I found out about Cecilia Brekhus and several others. Cecilia was among the first women boxers that I started to cover here on the channel, and one of my very first favorites. It's just unfortunate that people in this region of the world didn't get to see her in her prime, that by the time that she made it to America, she was already exiting her prime and was already very accomplished. My favorite performances from Cecilia, 2 almost immediately come to mind. The rematch with Sophie Ann Mathies. For a perspective, for context, Sophie Ann Mathies was one of the most devastating punchers in the sport at the time, and all time, she's one of the most devastating punchers the sport has ever seen. She's the one who left Holly Holm slumped over the ropes after she stopped her in her own hometown. That same Sophie Ann Mathies fought Cecilia Brekhus not once but twice, and in the second fight, Cecilia stopped her. Sophie Ann Mathies has been inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, and I'm sure that if Cecilia does retire, she will be as well. My second favorite performance of Cecilia's has to be the knockout win over the Dominican Republic's Oxandia Castillo. For a perspective, Oxandia is the one who knocked out Hannah Gabriels in just 2 rounds, and Cecilia Brekhus stopped her in the 9th round of a contest scheduled for 10, way back there in 2013. Cecilia drilled an already exhausted Oxandia Castillo, forcing a referee stoppage as Oxandia was taking too many hits, too many unanswered punches. Cecilia is a bad motherfucker. And if this really does turn out to be her final fight, if this is the end, man alive, what a career she's had. She is easily a first ballot Hall of Famer. Though as stated, I've my suspicions that this may not be the last time we see Cecilia in a boxing ring. You know, I initially thought after the 2 back-to-back losses to Jessica McCaskill, Cecilia might have called it a career then, and she didn't. She stuck around a while longer, so who's to say that she doesn't stick around until the end of the month when Michaela Mayer fights Mary Spencer for the WBA title at this same weight, to see about maybe capping off her career with her and unifying titles with her. For now, congratulations to the newly crowned unified junior middleweight champion, 2-weight world champion, Cecilia Brekhus, who's once again showed she's still got it. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, a look at what is to be the Zuffa Boxing schedule, a stream of 12 events on Paramount Plus in the coming year as part of a long-term media rights deal. Paramount announced a partnership with Zuffa Boxing this past Monday morning that will make the company the exclusive streaming and TV partner for the new promotional company in January. The deal will begin with 12 boxing cards on Paramount Plus in 2026 and is expected to grow in later years. It is also possible that select boxing events will eventually be broadcast by CBS,
also owned by Paramount,
and other linear Paramount platforms. So that essentially means that you're guaranteed a card once a month for the next 12 months via Zuffa Boxing. And with so much of this year already gone, and really only 3 months remaining, they have to move fast to launch this thing in January. CBS is the most watched broadcast network in the United States. Paramount Plus and CBS will also become the exclusive home of UFC starting in January. The companies announced a 7-year agreement last month that will pay UFC a total of $7.7 billion. Zuffa Boxing was formed by TKO and Sella, a leading entertainment conglomerate. The company is led by UFC president and CEO Dana White, Turki El Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, and owner of The Ring. Sella, managing director and CEO Dr. Rakan Al-Harthi, and WWE president Nick Khan, also a TKO board member. This partnership with Paramount reinforces our vision to redefine the way consumers consume boxing, Al-Sheikh said in a statement. More fight fans will now have access to watch some of the most exciting boxers around the world. We have seen the proof that the appetite is there. This is the future for live boxing coverage and will ensure the sport continues to thrive. Zuffa Boxing entered boxing on the grandest stage earlier last month when it promoted the Canelo vs. Crawford super middleweight title fight at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Crawford upset Alvarez by unanimous decision to become boxing's undisputed super middleweight champion before a capacity crowd in excess of 70,000. Crawford's win over Alvarez also drew more than 41 million viewers worldwide on Netflix. The Zuffa Boxing Paramount partnership will expose prospects, contenders, and eventually world champions to an expansive audience. Announcements regarding Zuffa Boxing's first show on Paramount Plus will be made at a later date. I'm excited to bring great boxing events to a global audience, Dana White said. There are millions of boxing fans that will now be able to watch competitive fights with up-and-coming boxers as well as the biggest stars in the sport. Paramount will become the home for UFC and boxing fans to watch the greatest fights in combat sports. Its deal with Zuffa Boxing marked Paramount's return to boxing after another of the company's subsidiaries, Showtime, exited the sport at the end of 2023. Showtime televised boxing on premium cable and pay-per-view for 37 years before Paramount eliminated the network's sports division in a massive restructuring that led to Paramount's sale to Skydance Corporation. Paramount has long been a leader in sports and sports storytelling, and this partnership marks a bold new chapter, not just for us, but for the future of boxing, said Cindy Holland, chair of direct-to-consumer for Paramount. It's a partnership that advances several of our core priorities, delivering premium sports to fans, providing audiences with year-round marquee live events, and creating long-term value through a differentiated, must-watch portfolio of content. By combining TKO and Zuffa Boxing's world-class production and promotional capabilities with our subscribers' passion for sports, we are confident we will deliver something truly special to boxing fans throughout the United States, Canada, and Latin America for years to come. The question is If Paramount was already in boxing via Showtime and they left, why did they decide to come back?
Why didn't they just bring over the PBC from Amazon over to Paramount?
2 words. Wasteful spending, and 3 more words. Underperforming content.
That's why PBC got the axe in the first place.
Paramount definitely wants to continue broadcasting live sport, but they want things to be different because the current model is broken. The current model needs an overhaul. Enter Zuffa Boxing that already has a lot of brand power via the UFC and WWE and a lot of money behind it in Turkey, El Sheikh and Sella.
Where this is more cost feasible than, say, continuing to work with the PBC is none of these Zuffa boxers are going to run you $2 to $3 million per fight.
No more wasteful spending, and they don't mean to oversaturate the market with box office fight after box office fight just to satisfy some fighters' inflated ego and inflated purse demands. So the network, the broadcaster, will actually get something back and get something out of this.
Get some viewership.
The schedule. You're talking about at least 1 card a month for the next 12 months. And this is where Zuffa can hope to fill the void left behind by the sparsely scheduled PBC that only really does about 5 or 6 shows a year.
Most of which are pay-per-views.
They can hope to fill the void left behind by Top Rank that still doesn't have a broadcast partner here towards the end of this year. This is where Zuffa Boxing can provide a service to the boxing fans. Give them something to watch that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. I already have Paramount Plus, so for me, this transition is seamless. I don't have to pay anything extra.
Just a bit of advice for the people at Zuffa and anybody that might be listening.
You might want to play with the idea of doing your cards on a Thursday or a Friday, not just a Saturday, because you don't want to clash with the bigger promotional outfits, the ones that people already know, like Matchroom or Top Rank when they come back, Golden Boy, with the fighters that the fight fans already know, because you're not going to win that battle. Your brand is still new and unfamiliar to your typical boxing fan, so if they have to choose between a Zuffa card and a Matchroom card, or a Top Rank card, a Golden Boy card, you know which way they're going to go. They're going to go with the brand they know.
You don't want to butt heads with them. The way you can avoid that, maybe you do some of your cards on a Thursday or a Friday while they're still doing all of theirs on a Saturday.
Where Zuffa Boxing can be a valuable ally to the boxing fan is by filling the gaps left behind by the sparsely scheduled PBC and the sparsely scheduled Top Rank. Filling that void and filling those gaps. Because this weekend is a prime example. In this part of the world, there's no boxing going on this weekend. In America, there's nothing on. Not for a boxing fan.
Weekends like this one is where the area of opportunity lies for Zuffa. These are the gaps you can fill.
There's not that much time left in between now and January when Zuffa is supposed to launch, so I expect a lot of information to be disseminated within the next 3 months as far as when exactly will Zuffa be doing their first show, who's going to fight on that show, who's going to be in the stable. I heard that there's going to be women in it. What women can we expect to sign to Zuffa?
I really like that part.
With only 3 months left until January, I imagine that Dana White and the people at Zuffa are going to go on a pretty big signing spree, signing as many fighters as they can right now, while they can, to fill those slots. They say they want to have a stable of approximately 400 to 450 fighters, so they've got to start working fast, and they've got to start working now, if they haven't started already. We'll see what happens.
In men's lightweight news, Timothy Bradley says that Shakur is avoided because he embarrasses fighters. Begging for a fight isn't something Shakur Stevenson enjoys doing, but sometimes he doesn't have much of a choice. It hasn't been easy for the WBC lightweight champion, but when you ask his contemporaries, most claim that facing Stevenson isn't a scary task due to his lack of knockout power. Sending his opponents to the hospital isn't Shakur's speciality, and it certainly isn't the reason why he struggles to get fights. But according to Timothy Bradley, fighters would rather face someone who has concussive power rather than get their ears boxed off. I wonder if Timothy didn't have Gervonta Davis in mind when he said this, because if you're going to talk about avoiding a fight with Shakur, that's the guy that's been doing it. He's not the only one, but he's the main one.
Shakur is avoided, Bradley said on a self-recorded video posted on his YouTube channel. He's avoided because he embarrasses fighters. He might not knock you out, but he's going to take everything away from you. Those exasperated looks have been etched all over the face of opponents. That trend continued a few months ago in Flushing, New York. Stevenson used bemusing footwork, tricky angles, and impenetrable defense against William Zepeda. Although he used relentless pressure and appeared determined as ever, Zepeda lost round after round, leading to a unanimous decision for Stevenson. And bear in mind that William Zepeda throws boatloads more punches per round than a Gervonta Davis. Even with that output, Zepeda couldn't get to him. So Gervonta,
and his 1 or 2 punches at a time, looking for 1 or 2 big counters at a time, you won't get those countering opportunities because Shakur won't give them to you.
spare me the whole Gervonta Davis knocks out Shakur Stevenson bit when he couldn't knock out Isaac Cruz that was standing right in front of him. And more recently,
Spare me.
he couldn't knock out Lamont Roach, who moved up from 130 up to 135, and he is not the boxer that Shakur Stevenson is. So if Gervonta Davis could not dispatch those guys, I hardly think he would dispatch Shakur. I think Shakur would embarrass him, but alas, it's a dead conversation.
Gervonta's not going to fight Shakur. He's going to fight Jake Paul, and in all likelihood, retire after that. Whereas Shakur is moving on and moving into a Teofimo Lopez fight. This is the silver lining for Shakur Stevenson, that his entire boxing career doesn't hinge on one fight with one guy. There are other guys to fight, like Teofimo. After that, Floyd Schofield, Raymond Muratalla, Andy Cruz.
You see, some fighters in the past make the mistake of making their entire career about one guy and one fight, like Demetrius Andre did with Canelo, to the point they don't want to fight anybody else. Shakur Stevenson is smarter than that, and better than that, to where if he doesn't get the Gervonta Davis fight, that's not the end of the world. He can fight other people. Moreover, he can fight all the people Gervonta Davis didn't fight, because he didn't fight nobody.
He didn't fight shit.
And the shit that he did fight, even those guys are ducking Shakur. Or did you forget 2 or 3 years ago when Isaac Cruz was ordered to fight Shakur Stevenson by the WBC, and he chose to fight some nobodies on an undercard instead? So not only is Gervonta Davis ducking Shakur, Gervonta Davis's opponents have been ducking Shakur, and that's fine.
So Shakur can't get Isaac or Gervonta. He's getting Teofimo, and that's good enough. At least those 2 kids are willing to fight each other. Give him credit for that.
I anticipate that Shakur is going to win that fight when it happens early next year. Shakur was able to deal with the pressure and the work rate of a William Zepeda, a busier fighter in a round than a Teofimo Lopez, whereas Teofimo, with him, it's really 1 and 2 punches at a time looking for a big counter, and he won't get the opportunity.
Won't be no countering opportunities.
So what I envision is a wide decision in favor of Shakur Stevenson, a unanimous decision by controlling the distance at which the fight is being fought and beating those feet when necessary to keep Teofimo at arm's length and keep the counters coming.
Which would make Shakur Stevenson a 4-weight world champion. He's been a champion at 126, at 130, at 135. Next up, 140.
So it's not the end of the world that he couldn't get the Gervonta Davis fight. I never thought it was going to happen anyway.